There you are. Hello and welcome to another Mindset Breakthrough Days with Sandra Bravo in Gold Coast of Australia. We are here thanks to Success Resources and the one and only Tony Robbins. And maybe you are just waking up with me if you're in Europe and it's morning time for you. Good morning. And perhaps you're in Australia or in Asia where it's afternoon, or maybe you're in America, you're already in a deep sleep because it's late for you. Or if you're in Mexico, I know we get a few Mexicans tuning in here, maybe because I'm Mexican and they can understand my accent. So I am very excited to talk to you today about leadership. Leadership is a topic near and dear to my heart, a topic that I'm passionate about. It's a skill that, even though you may have grown up being told that, you're either born a leader or you're not, I don't believe that's true. I think anyone can become a leader. Leadership is an acquirable skill. And the more that you put yourself out of your comfort zone into situations where you have to lead, the more that you develop all of the skills required to become an effective leader. I know for me, I don't know, 20 years ago, I was fearless. I was in my 20s, and if you threw me in any situation, I would be like, bring it on, embrace the challenge, and I would just be happy, excited, and willing to lead. And somehow, I don't know if it happens to you, but somehow find that the older that we get, the more that we think about it, the more that we hesitate, the more that we allow ourselves to feel the fear, and the more that we doubt our abilities. Right? When I think, you know what, thinking about, like, remember in my 20s, if you threw anything my way, I would be like, yes, what an exciting challenge, let's do this, right? And I remember when I first moved to Australia, like, I could barely speak English, and the accent was even stronger. So sometimes people couldn't even understand me. And I started working at Flight Center, which in fact, I got bounced back the first time, and because they couldn't understand my accent. But I didn't give up. See, I was fearless. I didn't have any fear of rejection, or not being able to do it, or not being capable, or none of that. I was just like ready to smash it. So I kept knocking on their door, 3 months later, until they got me in. Interestingly enough, the lady that hired me, a few years later, we became good friends. And she tells me that she was South American. I couldn't believe it. I was so mad. I'm like, you kidding me? You were South American and you didn't give me the job the first time because you couldn't understand my accent when you're Spanish speaking native yourself. Like, I couldn't believe it. But anyway, I remember I started working there, and within 6 months, I reckon, our 2IC in the store, our second in charge, or assistant manager, I guess you would call it, left. And I remember putting my hand up, like, I knew nothing. I just started a few months ago, right? I'm just learning how to be a travel consultant, never mind how to lead. But I'm like, I want to do it. I want this. And I got it. I think it was I was just fearless and feisty and energetic and passionate and excited, and I got it. And then in less than 6 months, about 3 4 months later, they announced that they're opening a new branch, and that's at a shopping center that was like 5 minutes from my house. So I'm like, I want to open that new shop. I want to be the manager. How exciting! It's 5 minutes from my house. Instead of driving, I can just ride my bike, and it would save me so much. Not that I was traveling a lot. I was traveling probably 20 30 minutes to work, but still, I was living in Melbourne, and so traffic at that time is hideous. And same thing, like the state manager was like probably looking at me like, girl, you just started in this job like 9 months ago. You already became an assistant manager within a few months, and now you want to be a store manager, and not just of established store, but open a brand new store, which comes with all sorts of additional pressures, stress, and risks, and everything else, responsibilities. And I'm like, yeah, yeah, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. Don't ask me how. I got it. Despite of the people, experienced people applying, and all of people that had been in the company for so long. Don't ask me how I got it, right? So here you see, I'm like 9 months, brand new into the business. I've already ascended to assistant manager, and now they give me the manager's role at a brand new store. And so here I go. Brand new store is not, we don't even have the shelves yet because fit out department is like building a house, right? It's never on time and it's never on budget. You plan that your house is going to be built in 6 months or 9 or a year, and that it's going to cost you this much, and then it ends up taking twice as long and costing you almost twice as much, right? So it's the same with the this business. The fit out department was like blah blah, but we were forced because with shopping centers you get deadlines, and so it was the deadline to open the shop, and if we didn't open that day, we would be charged some huge amounts of money as fines for being late. So we had to open the door that day to the clients, and the phone lines are still not working. We still don't have the shelves on the walls for all the travel brochures. And I'm given, I can't remember if it was 2 or 3 brand new staff. Eventually I got 6, but like when we just first opened, I was given like 2 or 3 brand new staff. But they're brand new. So they haven't had any experience. They're still going, because you normally alternate the first 1 or 2 months between going to head office for training and coming to the store to get like real life experience. And so I'm given these two or three girls that are still going through training, so they've never consulted it. So here I am, right, with the store half fitted, phones not working. I think eventually they started working. They finally connected them that day, thank God, because back in the day you had to ring a wholesalers to get prices for packages and hotels and the airlines and all of these. I mean, we're talking about nearly 20 years ago, right? So and clients are walking through the door, and when I look back, I just think I had no experience as a leader. I have new team members that have never done this before, so they're still learning. We don't have half of the stuff that we need on the store, and none of that mattered. None of that mattered. I was resourceful. I was excited. I was passionate. I had energy. I cared for my clients. I cared for my staff, and I was fearless. And not that I didn't feel the fear, it's just that I felt the fear and I did it anyway. I allowed to transform the energy of the fear into the power of drive and motivation and excitement. And so that's what got me through it. And cut the long story short, we ended up, it was our first year in business, which 99% of the stores tend to lose money the first year. We made profit. We got awards to go to the Global Ball. The Global Ball is typically a huge celebration somewhere in the world. I think it was in Ireland back then. Every year was different. Like I got to go to Singapore, where we stay at the Marina Bay Sands, that big hotel with the with surfboard look on top. Got to go to Ireland, and there was something else. I think it was Las Vegas or Hawaii or something. So the Global Ball was only once a year at the end of the financial year, which for us in Australia is at the end of July, at the end of June. So usually the Global Ball would be sometime in July. And it would be anywhere in the world, different location every year. And only the top of the top in the world got to attend. And you could either attend individually or as a team. And so as a new store making profit on our very first year meant that we qualified to go. And that was like a huge success, right? And it was, I'll tell you what, just hold that thought. And let's just time out for a second, because that just reminded me, because we've been talking a lot about the morning priming and the meditation and visualizing and gratitude and journaling. And so a really powerful thing to do in your journals in the morning is to write down the successes that you've had throughout your life, because that reinforces to your subconscious the fact that you're capable, that you can do it, that you're resourceful, that you're creative, that you're this, that you're determined, that all of these things, so that when you're not feeling so good about yourself, when you're doubting yourself, when you're allowing to feel the fear and allowing to stop you, because everyone has fear. It's not like Oprah or Sir Richard Branson or Tony Robbins don't have fears. It just means they feel it and do it anyway, right? So we all have fears, different fears, and of course different intensities of fear. So it's not about not feeling it or not having any. So when I say I was fearless, what I really mean is not that I didn't have fear. It just meant that fear didn't stop me. Fear was like adrenaline for me. Bring it on. I want the challenge. I'm excited and I can do this. And look, I don't know if it was the Mexican culture in me, where, in Mexico, one thing I found when I came to Australia is, in Australia, most people barely finish year 12, which means the end of high school. Usually that's as far as they go, and that's it. When in Mexico, it's so normal to finish high school and then go to university and do a 5-year degree, university degree, and then from there go and do a master's degree and maybe a doctorate. And it's just this never ending learning and growing and preparing yourself, because the cultural old way of, the more that you do that, the better chances you have in life, I guess. So I grew up in a culture where nothing was handed to me, nothing was given to me for free. Like, if you wanted something, you just learn to go for it and to fight and to get it. And so I guess for me, coming from a third world country to a first world country, and then realizing so many people here are not even educated, and I had all these qualifications, but not only that, just the fact that I had the opportunity to live in a different world, and to have an amazing job, and the opportunity to travel, and to get a good income and all of that sort of thing. So for me, it was just like, it's so exciting. I was on top of the world. I wanted to eat the world now in one bite. And so, but the cool thing is, so first of all, yeah, write all of your successes throughout your life. Right, just like you write your list every morning of all the things you're grateful for, you also want to write a list of all the things that you're proud of yourself for, because again, that's just planting seeds that feed your confidence, your self-esteem, and all of those internal resources that you need within yourself when it's time to push it to get to the next level, when it's time to accomplish another success and things like that. So it's just a great thing to add to your little morning ritual, whether you're doing the Bravo method that I teach, or the priming exercises from Tony, or just your gratitude and your visualization and your journaling. Make sure that you journal about your successes, accomplishments that you've had, goals that you have achieved, and things that you're proud of yourself. And then you can just read them whenever you need that doses of adrenaline or dopamine, or self-love, whatever it is. So what is leadership for you? Like, I love to hear from you, and you can type it in the chat, whether you're watching this live or whether you are catching the replay afterwards. What is leadership for you? Because I find that many people think of leadership of something like, oh, you just get an entry-level job, and then you work your way up the ladder until you're in a management position, or even in a C-suite, right? And now you're a leader. And perhaps that's the way that it happened for me almost 20 years ago. I think I'll always be grateful for that job I had at Flight Centre for nearly 10 years. I loved it. I grew so much. I learned so much. I traveled so much. I made some amazing long life friendships, and I had so much fun. I made really good money because I kept moving. After I managed successfully the first business, I moved to another and another, which meant I could buy shares in each of the businesses. So then, even if I wasn't managing those businesses anymore, I would still get paid a percentage of the profit of those businesses that I set up, even though I was already in a different business and things like that. So, I'm so grateful, because it brought so much good to me. Travel, friendships, fun, wisdom, growth, money. It was just an amazing gift. And the only reason why I left is because when my babies were born, and now I felt a bit stuck. Now I felt like I can't be here dedicating my whole life to my business, working 8, 10, 12 hours a day, when now I have 2 little beautiful girls at home. That that's when I started a new journey of personal development and starting my own business and quitting my full-time job and all of that. But the time when I had it, it was just amazing. And so what's the big difference then between being a manager or a CEO or being an effective leader? I don't believe that being a manager and being the leader are the same things. In fact, when I went back after maternity leave, I took some maternity leave for both my babies because I was breastfeeding them, and we didn't have any family to help us because all of my former husband's family were in England, all of mine are in Mexico, so it was just the two of us. And I took some time babysit my babies and all that. And so when I went back, I didn't want to work full time anymore. I wanted to do part time. I went back full time first. Then, when I started doing seminars and attending Tony Robbins and Success Resources events, I decided to go more part time. And so, but I didn't want to give up my leadership position that I had built over the years. I didn't want to have to step down. So what I did is I asked if I could co-lead or job share, they call it, which meant there was another lady that was my employee. She had also had babies. And so she had been a manager in the past, and then it was too much stress for her. She decided to step down. She allowed the fear to take over, right? As in, I embraced it. I kept going regardless of how tough. Some days, of course, was tough as hell, and I didn't know what I was doing. And I was just like, but I didn't give up. So we decided we had very different personalities, which was a good thing because we didn't clash. We kind of complemented each other really well. And so we decided to job share. So we decided to still be leaders of the business. And we would do, I think it was 3 days a week each. And we just shared the role and everything else, right? The responsibilities, the income, the bonuses, etc. Except that I had more because I had shares in a lot of different businesses. So that, thank God, was just for me. And it was interesting because our state manager, Alison Crabb, she was an amazing leader. I learned so much from her. She's a great role model. She's obviously no longer with the company anymore either, but we're still friends. And she's in Malibu, so it's not like we can see each other at the moment because we're not even allowed to leave the state. But when we could, every time she was in Brisbane or here in Gold Coast, she would call me and we would meet up for a drink and to catch up because she started her own business too, me too, and so we had a lot to share. Or if I was in Melbourne for speaking at one of Success Resources events, I would meet up for her and same thing. So she said something very interesting to me that I hadn't seen, and she said, you know, you and I won't mention names, but the lady that I was job sharing with are very different. She's a manager, you're a leader. She's there to make sure that the roster jobs are done and that the accounts are done and that the invoices for the clients are done and that nobody's late for the meeting and all of that kind of dictatorial side of things. She said, but you're a leader. You're there to inspire. You're there to share a vision with your team and to get them on board and to inspire them to come together to this vision, which is what makes the success and the business work. She actually wasn't very keen in us job sharing, but she knew it was the only way to keep me in the business. Otherwise, I was going to quit, which I eventually did anyway once I started doing what I love, which is speaking and training and facilitating. And once I replaced my income, then I said goodbye to my full-time job. But that's the very first time that I heard the difference between being a manager and being a leader. And I think that effective leadership has very little to do with the amount of authority that a person has achieved and everything to do more with how that person is perceived in the organization. Have you earned the trust of your team? Do you have a vision that you get buy-in from your team? And are you capable of inspiring your team to jump on board with that vision, right? How do you communicate with your team? Do you have like real effective leadership skills and all that sort of jazz? So some of the effective leadership skills that Tony Robbins talks about is number one, passion. And remember I said to you, like even though I didn't know what I was doing most of the time, it didn't matter because I was so passionate, excited, and I wouldn't give up if I didn't know how to do it. And I always said to my staff, you know what? You don't have to know how to do it all. There was so much to learn in that business. And even when you thought you knew it all, there was still blind spots, things you didn't know, things that you didn't know, and more things to learn. So I always said to them, you don't need to know everything. You just need to know where to find the answer. And whether it's on our online resources or whether it's just knowing who to call, because at Flights, it was such a great organization. Everything was in-house. We had the risk management, which means all the lawyers, in case we ever had any issues or had any client wanting to sue us or whatever. We had all the legal department in-house, all of the accounts department in-house, the bookkeepers and the accountants, all of the marketing department. We didn't outsource it. It was all in-house. I created all of the TV campaigns and ads and social media and physical advertising, on banners and all of these things. Recruitment was in-house. We didn't outsource that. All of the training and the learning and development center was in-house. So everything was in-house, which meant sales training, which meant there was so many opportunities for you to grow and move departments and all of that, right? And the thing is that with that passion, I said to my team, you don't have to know it all. You just need to know who to call. You need to be able to grab your phone book and know which department to ask the question, or just be resourceful, right? And I think that's a huge thing. I think passion can overcome lack of aptitude or lack of experience or knowledge. If you're passionate, you'll be so energetic and excited like I was, that you'll find the way, you'll figure it out, you'll be creative, you'll be resourceful. Remember the other day we talked about it's never a lack of resources, it's only a lack of resourcefulness, right? If you haven't enrolled for UPW Virtual and you're telling yourself the stories of I don't have the money or I don't have the time, that's BS. Because if you make it a priority, when you make it a priority and you make the decision, the rest will happen. You'll figure out the way to allocate the time and to allocate the funds for you, right? So it's not that you don't have the resources. First of all, it's not a priority. You haven't made the decision. And third, you're not being resourceful enough, because trust me, when you want something, you find a way. I know so many women that they're financially supported by their husbands. I've never been like that. I've always been independent myself, and I like taking care of myself, and I like being with a man because I want to be with a man, not because I have to be with a man, right? But there's a lot of women that still depend on their husbands financially, and it's funny because they'll give them the money for the month, for the food, for the kids, whatever. And I tell you what, when that mom or that woman wants something for herself, maybe to do her nails or her hair or her Botox or whatever it might be, she'll find a way to become resourceful, to take money from there for what she wants and make the rest of the money last for the needs of the family, right? She'll be resourceful enough. Nothing will get on the way, trust me. So when you make it a priority, when you make a decision, when you want it bad enough, you'll figure out the way and you'll be resourceful enough, and all the excuses of the time and the money will be removed. So if you don't have your ticket yet, go get it now. Bringthefreedom.com. All right, let's keep talking about skill number 2, positivity. Positivity. Again, you can either focus on what's wrong and what's lacking, in which case you're going to feel very stuck inside that jar. And once you're inside the jar, you can't read the label from inside the jar. Or you can be positive, optimistic, and just know that there's always a way. Sometimes the stress was so much at Flight Centre, especially once I became pregnant and I had a big team. And we grew a pretty large business from the little business that I opened up. And it got to the point where I had been through so many dramatic moments and stresses that I just thought it's the end of the world, that I just learned, you know what? I always find a solution. It's never the end of the world. We always find a way out. So it just got to the point where I just learned to be optimistic and to look at it with positivity of, oh, that's a new lesson. I used to say to my team all the time, it's okay to make mistakes. We're human. What is not okay is to make the same mistake twice, because that just tells me that now you're not paying attention, that you didn't learn anything from your previous mistakes. So I used to get them in my morning meetings to share. If they had a mistake that cost them money, if they messed up, if they had an angry client yelling at them, whatever the mistake it is, share it with the team at the meeting so that the rest of us can learn from it, so that we don't make the same mistake in the same business, right? Because if you keep it to yourself, it's going to happen to someone else. So I used to just get them to be okay with it and share it. And then I would be like, that's great. You made a mistake. That means you learn. You're bigger and better and a better leader in your own little business. Just make sure you never make the same mistake again. You're allowed to make another mistake, a different mistake, but not the same mistake twice. So it just all of us learn. Effective leadership skill number 3, resourcefulness. As I said to you, and as I used to say to my team all the time, you don't need to know it all. You don't need to know the answers. You just need to know where to find them, who to ring, who to approach, where to search. And that is called resourcefulness. And my friend, nothing beats resourcefulness. These days, I ingrain it into my kids every single day. Whenever they accomplish something, they do something, they're proud, that this, that, I go, oh my God, aren't you so proud of yourself for being resourceful? Remember, I never tell them I'm proud of you, because that's like installing the need for external recognition and approval. I always say, are you proud of yourself? You must be so proud of yourself, just to wire them to have that approval and recognition come from within. And I always say, are you proud of yourself for being so resourceful? You must be so proud of yourself for being resourceful. And little Brie will be like, Mom, I am so proud of myself. I'm so resourceful. I did this and I did that. And I'm like, well done, baby. So resourcefulness, because if you're resourceful, think about it. There's no limits. There's no mountain that you cannot climb. You can do anything you want if you're resourceful, right? Skill number 4 is empathy. You must be able to have empathy for yourself and for others, because effective leaders become masters of influence, being able to influence others, and you do it through empathy. Skill number 5, dependability. That means you're reliable. That means your team can count on you. And that also means you trust yourself enough to not do it and let others do it, to empower your team to do it, so that you're not the one that is doing it all, because otherwise it's not going to be done good enough to your standards, right? And of course, the last one, number 6, is decisiveness. Effective leaders are decisive. They're able to make decisions, important decisions. They make them fast. They make as many decisions as they can. If they make a wrong decision, no problem. They just take a new one and keep going. You're better off to take a quick decision, even if it's the wrong one, and then make another decision later, than to hesitate and not decide at all. And you've probably heard this a million times. Any successful person, leader, business owner that I know, they are decisive. So are you decisive, my friend? Wherever you are joining us from, are you decisive? Have you made the decision to join UPW Virtual with the man, the legend himself, the one and only Tony Robbins? Because you're running out of time. You only have 3 more days to get your ticket. Go to bringthefreedom.com, bringthefreedom.com, because UPW Virtual is happening on Thursday, 22nd of October. So it's just around the corner. And trust me, you will never regret it. It's one of those once in a lifetime opportunity that is presenting in front of you. You must take action. Be decisive. Get your ticket at bringthefreedom.com. I look forward to seeing you there. And have a happy weekend. It's Friday. Might be Friday morning if you're in Europe, or afternoon already. It's time to have some fun. Maybe go out with friends, have a drink, or whatever it is that you like doing on a Friday afternoon, evening, and just celebrate that it's the end of the week and the weekend is here. Yay! And if you're anything like me, you must be excited, because it's the spring here. The weather is beautiful. I've been doing my 5-kilometer run along the beach, which is just gorgeous. The sun, the ocean, the sand. It's nice and breezy to open up all the windows and doors around the house. There's no need for air conditioning yet until summer gets here. Then it gets too humid to have any windows open. But enjoy your weekend. Come back here, wherever you're watching this, same place, same time on Monday, because I have the beautiful Mike Wolf joining us all the way from Canada. He is an amazing entrepreneur and leader, and he has built something so amazing where his business is just in autopilot without him having to work in the business. He's been traveling for 5 years straight. I call him the nomad entrepreneur, because of the business that he's created, where he can just function without him. Unfortunately, at the moment, he can't go anywhere. He's locked in Canada, just like I am in Australia. But tune in, because I'm going to have him as my guest. He's attended UPW 3 times. It's changed his life. He brought his daughter when she was quite young, and she attributes her success as an adult now to having been to UPW when she was quite young. So come back on Monday, same place, same time. I look forward to seeing you. Have an amazing weekend. This is Sandra Bravo signing off from Gold Coast in Australia. And on behalf of Success Resources, Tony Robbins, and myself, have an amazing weekend. Live with passion. And I look forward to seeing you on Monday, same place, same time. Bye for now.